I'm nearly 60. And I think the last time was believe that I was crying, mate. I can't believe.
You deserve it, man. Well done,
I can't believe.
You deserve it, my brother.
Congrats.
Our first trophy.
Well done. You deserve it.
I know it's not the biggest sport.
No,
it's a trophy.
This is yours, mate.
Yes.
This is yours. Deserve it. Go on tonight and enjoy it. Puff your chest out. Enjoy this, lad.
Hey, mate. You've got the Premiership.
And that's what football is all about, man. Honestly, I love this. I absolutely love this. Yes, we lost the match, but this is what the greatest game in the world is all about, is seeing moments like this where we have 55, 60-year-old fans seeing their first trophy for the first time. And in these moments, the Carabao Cup is worth a World Cup, right? Seeing moments like this is absolutely phenomenal. No, we did not get the win, but I remember when this was us, right? I remember when this was us, when we won our first Premier League title in the modern era. And, you know, the first one in, what was it, 30-something years or something like that. And some of these fans were this guy's age, 50 and 60 and 70 years old. Seeing Liverpool lift the title for the first time in so long, or lifting the title at all, right? For some of us who are our age, my age, and stuff like that. So this just reminds everybody what football is all about. So congrats to Newcastle. You deserve this moment. And as for the Liverpool fans, keep your head up. We have a league title to win. We got to dust ourselves and go at this again, and go again like we always do, and like we have been doing over the past 9 years, through the highs and through the lows. But I'm seeing a lot of really interesting comments online, some strange comments online about this Liverpool side on whether or not we can actually win this title. But I did see this one take from Kara that I thought actually was pretty valid, and it actually kind of made sense here. This is the clip.
These aren't great players. They're good players. When I'm watching it with the eye test, and your first thing you just said then, Scholes, was Salah was quiet and he's poor. You're right, he was, because we expect so much.
But you rely on him.
But I'm tearing my hair out looking at the others. I'm thinking, what did he do? Come on, lads. You can't wait for him to do it every week. It's like, and we are the top scorers. We only lost once in the league, and that's why I'm trying not to be too critical. But I do feel that there's like...
I felt it was a centre-forward problem.
Oh, centre-forward problem. I think left wing can be... I think attacking midfield...
The depth issue that Liverpool have right now, and it's being exposed late in the season. And I think a lot of us, I think we saw this part of it coming, right? With the lack of reinforcements that happened in the summer, and then of course in January as well. A lot of these players are getting tired, and then some of them aren't as good as maybe we thought they were, or they're reminding us of how good they've been the entire time, right? And like I mentioned in the previous video, I think Liverpool's problems, they actually go a little bit deeper than what it seems on the surface. For most people, they're saying, we need a holding midfielder. We need someone to, deputize VVD. We need a new left back. I actually think Liverpool maybe need to be doing some reconstruction. When you look at the stats here of how many goals are scored amongst our forwards this season, and the majority of it, how many of these are coming from Mo Salah? Yes, he does have penalty goals in there, but he's still dwarfing a majority of the numbers from the rest of our forward line, who Cody Gakpo, who's number 3, who's been injured for the majority of the month, and Luis Diaz at number 2. Yes, he's our number 2 goal scorer, but why is the gap so big? It's actually very, very worrying. The main thing that scares me the most about this gap and seeing the stats and stuff like that is that most of the production is coming from a guy whose contract is ending and is also aging. That's an issue. Those are 2 main issues. The Mo Salah, we don't know if he's going to be signed beyond this season, so where does the goals and the creativity come from? And then 2, if he does sign another contract, how long is he going to be able to put up superhuman numbers? We don't know, right? And I think the front line actually probably is a little bit more of a concern for Arne Slot than I think people really understand. I'm expecting from FSG, I'm expecting from Richard Hughes and the team for them to have a really big summer, and they need a lot of work on that front line. But what excites me the most is not so much the transfers, because we talk about transfers all the time, but it's the tactics and the implementation that Slot is going to be able to employ with a whole new front line coming in. I'm very excited because these will be players that he wants and that he will have a say in, not all the way pick, of course, but he will have a say in. And I think we will truly get to see slot ball next season and not tactics out of necessity, which I believe is a massive strength of Arne Slot, being able to adapt on the fly and being able to play a bunch of different ways. But I'd love to see the way that Arne Slot wants to play. And I think the right personnel being brought in probably makes the most sense. I mean, I literally can't wait, because we've seen glimpses of it this year. I mean, just imagine.
God, I love that. God, I love that. Oh, make you want to kick a fat kid at Kmart. You know what I'm saying? Praise God, baby.
Arne Slot just having all of his pieces together, getting the most out of everybody, bringing in some world-class talent. I mean, I just, I love it. Based off of the top scorers list, I think people turning against Mo Salah does not make any sense. But this is the most obvious carry job that I've seen in a long time. So people coming after Mo Salah, Liverpool fans.
Myth.
What?
And by the way,
Me? Me?
Yes, there are.
But I do think that there is another, even further layer to the whole Liverpool attacking situation. Liverpool players, they need to stop deferring to Mo Salah as much. I think his numbers are inflated because every time we get into the final third, a lot of those passes or a lot of those shots that should be taken aren't taken in their pass to Mo. And Mo is so good, and it's the Mo Salah syndrome, right? I mean, all season long, the intent in that final third has always been just give it to Mo. I don't know if that's something that Arne has been telling his team to do, but it's something that's kind of been pretty prevalent in Liverpool sides, I want to say, for the past 3 seasons. So what happens when that changes? What happens when Mo Salah isn't the main man? And I think that scares a lot of fans. And the Salah syndrome is just something super vicious because he's been so reliable to us for the past 7-8 years. We can't imagine an attack or even a Liverpool side without Mo Salah in it. So it's scary thinking that potentially he could not be renewed. Where does the creativity come from? And I think that is a problem that actually excites me a little bit more, like I mentioned before, than it worries me, because I think we get to see a different version of Liverpool that we've seen in a really long time. So I'm very excited about that. I think one of 3 things happens, and this is me bleacher coaching, okay? Give Salah the dominant help that he needs, not the capable help that he needs. Because I think the players that we already have in Gakpo, Diaz, Nunes, Jota, I think all of those players are actually very capable. I think he needs a dominant teammate to come in and change the way that he plays. And he's alluded to this a little bit with Darwin Núñez, where Darwin actually forces him to play a different way. I think he needs to play with a player that actually believes that he's on Mo Salah's level, or he believes that he is a world-class player, and it's going to force Mo to actually start sharing the ball a little bit more. We saw that with Roberto Firmino. We saw that with Sadio Mane, where all 3 of them were on 20 goals in a season at one time, right? I think he needs players that have that mentality that, like, nah, I'm the man, I'm the main man. And Mane and Salah, they used to beef all the time because they both thought that they were very good. The second thing is reduce Mo's roll down. I think maybe you move him central and you make him become more of a facilitator than an actual wing threat. Obviously, as he gets older, the pace is going to go and things like that. He won't be able to play as a winger for a very long time. We saw Messi, we saw Ronaldo make that transition. Messi became more of a creative. Ronaldo became more of an out-and-out goal scorer. I can see that in the future for Mo as well. Third, let him leave. Let's rebuild and reform this attack into something new. And I know a lot of people will say, you don't get rid of Mo Salah. You don't get rid of VVD. You don't get rid of Trent. You saw the final. This is what happens when Trent's not in the side. PSG did it with Mbappe, with Messi, and Neymar. Liverpool will be able to do it with VVD, Salah, and Trent. They will. I don't want this club to be held back by nostalgia. Every team has seasons and stages, and I think this is time for an era to be ushered out and a new era to be ushered in. And teams that don't know how to do this properly, they end up struggling and they end up scrambling, and it's too late. It ends up becoming too late to try to transition out of the previous area and refresh the club. But giving VVD, Salah, and Trent massive contracts, especially VVD and Mo, I can see Trent, but especially VVD and Mo, so late in their careers, makes no sense at all. It makes no financial sense, and it makes no sporting sense. And I'm glad that we do not run the club and they run the club, because they will probably make the right decision when it comes to this. Them signing friendly deals is a completely different thing, which I don't think that they will. I would like them to sign team-friendly deals so they can stay at the club and retire legends, but 9 times out of 10, it doesn't happen, not just in football, but in any sport at all. I don't have a stance on FSG in or out, by the way, and you guys know that. This is just facts. We have to trust the guys that got us to the dance. This is going to be our 2nd league title that we could potentially win. There are plenty of cases where there's teams that could have caved into fan pressure and they didn't, and the teams that did cave into fan pressure, they regretted it. This is the most obvious example. Barcelona with Leo Messi in 2020. Fans, they pressured the Barca board to keep Leo and keep him on his books, even though they were hemorrhaging money and he was too expensive to stay on. And they knew that they had financial instability. They've been spending poorly, trying to build around an aging Lionel Messi. So what ended up happening, right? It delayed their rebuild for years, sent them into financial crisis, and Barcelona ended up losing him for free with no real succession plan for him at the end of the day, right? It took them 5 years to get back to the highest level. They're back now, and they had to rebuild through the academy. Let's look at Manchester United. Wayne Rooney, Phil Jones, and bringing Cristiano Ronaldo back. What ended up happening? They delayed their rebuild with Erik ten Hag, who, whatever you say about Erik ten Hag, he's looking like a better manager than Ruben Amorim right now. Led to a lot of managerial instability. It disrupted the dressing room, which still exists to this day. And inconsistent performances absolutely plague Manchester United, where they're now at the bottom of the table, guys. The Lakers with Kobe. What happened? The Lakers gave Kobe a $48 million contract, 2 years after he tore his Achilles, mainly out of respect and the desire from the fans. They listened to them. So what happened? The team had no cap space to even build around him. They went years with terrible season after terrible season after terrible season, even after Kobe retired. It wasn't only until recently where they got LeBron, who is now in the twilight of his career, which is why the Luka deal actually makes a whole ton of sense, because now they have a succession plan for LeBron when he retires in the next 1 to 2 years. And they're not going to give him another contract because it doesn't make sense to give a 40-year-old LeBron James another contract, regardless if you're the greatest player in the world. Let's look at some examples where it actually made sense. And they didn't cave into fan pressure, and they made the right decisions, which led to success. Us. We don't have to look too far. Liverpool with Felipe Coutinho. We were devastated to lose Coutinho. I was devastated to lose Coutinho. We sold him to Barcelona for 142 million. One of the biggest coups of all time. We lost our best playmaker. At least we thought we did. We still haven't even replaced Coutinho. Okay? What ended up happening? We invested into Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. We went on becoming a Champions League and a Premier League winning side. Look at Real Madrid. They sold Cristiano Ronaldo, who a lot of people thought was at the peak of his powers in 2018. So the Real Madrid fans were enraged by Madrid. But they knew that Ronaldo was aging, and they knew that he wouldn't be able to sustain these levels at the highest level, especially with the injuries that he was picking up. So what happened? They went out, they got Vinny Jr., they got Rodrigo, they got Bellingham, Valverde, all of these young players, Tchouaméni, all of these young players that they ended up bringing in, and it brought more dominance. Camavinga even. Okay, come on. You have to trust the process. They don't let players stay longer past their due date. They let players go. You can look at their history. They let players leave when it's time for them to leave, and they don't let fan sentiment and they don't let nostalgia get in the way of winning. And that's what FSG is looking at this model as. They're looking at Real Madrid, and whether you like them or not, or whether you think they pay off refs, maybe they do, maybe they don't, they also do a really good job of making sure their team stays recycled and fresh constantly, and they don't allow fans or sentiment to get in the way of being the best. And we all know this. There's no one player that's bigger than the Liverpool Football Club. It doesn't matter if your name is Mohamed Salah. It doesn't matter if your name is Virgil van Dijk or Trent Alexander-Arnold. The club will always continue to move on and get better. And never has there been a moment in our history where we let go of a player and we regretted it. Keep that in mind. Let that sink in. Whether you like it or not, this is going to be a dawn of a new era at Liverpool FC. And you have to accept that.